Hello everybody and welcome to what is finally the actual last video of Super Metroid Redesign Axeil Edition. It actually gets finished up in this video, so hooray, cheers everywhere and stuff. So, as I ended off the last video, I don't actually remember, and I didn't actually look back ahead to see what is going on, because we'll see it here anyway. The death laser things are... There's the one left, and I am pretty sure I have to deactivate it before I do anything else. But we'll see. While I do believe that, it honestly would not surprise me if you do end up having to come back here, because that would be a very redesigned thing to make people come back into a major loop for no real reason. And the space jump is still garbage in this. Why is... I don't even... But, yeah, this thing here. Now, actually, kind of knew this existed beforehand, because I saw Epi play this. And yeah, you got speed boost blocks, you got super missile blocks. The speed boost blocks will disappear and stay away. The super missile blocks will come back. So if you have to do this more than once, you'll need the supers to do it. You need at least 2 supers. And I think I fail at this Shine Spark thing. Charging a Shine Spark, I'm already bad enough. I didn't need Drew's help to make it even worse. So, just like that. And why is it 2 super missile blocks instead of just 1? I don't know. So, yeah, you fall down if you remember this thing in the background of that room. It's like, oh yeah, there was a thing there. So, yeah, you see, this part of terrain, like this aspect of it, you're going around through these rooms you've been in, exploring them in a completely different way through these background things. It's one of the cooler aspects of this hack. So yeah, you don't want to fall down that thing. Now that we've been in that room, I do know you do need to deactivate that other death laser. There's another death laser at the very back end of this, or that room before Mother Brain. You can't deactivate that till all the others are deactivated. Or at least I hope that's true, otherwise I'll be really silly. And the birds say hi. But yeah, that crumble block, it's in a mean spot, because again, why can't you jump or spring ball off crumble blocks? Because you can't. If you fail that, you have to go all the way back around, use another couple supers, which take 5 minutes to fire each. I mean, it's just like, why are you so insistent on making this hack not fun? Like, this would not be such a bad thing if space jump weren't so garbage, if screw attack did not get knocked out of when you screw attack into those enemies, if the supers didn't take forever to fire, like if they were just normal, like in Z Factor, where you had to do big loops around that. The loops around Z Factor are way less obnoxious, because everything is normal. You're used to it, nothing's changed with it. It's like, okay, this is fine. And so when you do a loop, it's like, well, this is actually kind of normal, so whatever. Plus, it was also kind of fun to explore in, unlike this hack. Mostly due to vanilla physics. So yeah, a couple more lasers. Yeah. We do need to deactivate the other death laser, which will deactivate this first laser, which will then let us go through the background here and fall down, which will let us deactivate the last death laser. And you see, this really should have been all part of one thing that encompassed all of terrain, not broken up into the sections like it is. Because this really drags. And, you know, this is really the best part of terrain, I think, of this terrain, and it's just, it comes after so much other unfun and annoying things that, you know, at this point it's just like, I just want this to be over. I don't care about this anymore. Like, and that's a terrible thing for a hack to do for a player. It's like, a hack should be, or at least I would imagine people who make hacks expect them to have some sort of enjoyment. Now, people may debate that about my hacks, but still, I enjoy it when I see other people play them, so that's a thing. And maybe Drew enjoys watching people play this. I don't know. He might also enjoy people complaining about silly things, because to him, maybe all this stuff is silly. He did make it like this in the first place. So if that's the case, you know, I can't really hold that against him. Although I prefer annoying players. Not really annoying. I can't really think of the word I want. Not really annoying, not really bugging or frustrating. Trolling, not, I don't know if people consider it that, but maybe. But it's just like, hey, people know. I guess a big difference is people know what to expect in a so little hack. Oh, and this might be another thing. You see the background tiles there? It's kind of like, oh, there's a thing here. It's like, And I think I may have gone through that before. I just couldn't do anything the first time. I may not have, though. It's another possibility. But yeah, when people start up SLT or whatever, they're not confused as to what they're getting into. They know it's a garbage hack that is going to completely be super obnoxious. Which is the complete opposite. Yeah, I definitely was back here. But now these other death lasers are gone. It's like, oh, I can get through this. Which didn't let you unlock that stuff. So yeah, there's a death laser somewhere that shuts off the death laser that was there, which then lets you get back here where you have to bomb all of these stupid little bomb blocks individually, because again, just being able to roll through it will make it too fast for this hack. You have to spend longer to enjoy all of it, because it's been so much fun at this point. So yeah, now that those are gone, I completely forgot about this room, honestly. So yeah, don't do that when you're playing this. It's kind of important. But now that that's done, you can go back, get that last death laser zebbatite. Well, second to last really. But the last one for our hunting purposes. And again, more random blocks you have to bomb because this isn't long enough already. But yeah, back to what I was saying before. I mean, you know, when Drew first released this hack, was sort of new with the beta Metroid construction site, which by the point this goes up might still be in beta. I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't really do much with that. I just do things mostly with the Metcons YouTube channel. The main site and stuff is not my oversight. So, but that was relatively new when this first came out. One of the features of the site is with hacks, the individual hacks pages now, you've got a lot more information. One of the problems is potentially a lot of misinformation. One of the reasons this hack got such a terrible response was because the way it was advertised / marketed, which those aren't really the correct phrases, seeing how it wasn't really advertised or marketed. But along those lines, that's how Drew sort of introduced the hack. There's a difficulty rating for the hacks on the new hack pages. When you submit a hack, you can select your own difficulty, whatever. The difficulty Drew selected for this hack was beginner. And I believe the reasoning was because it was easier than the original redesign. First off, I would disagree that it's easier than the original redesign. Overall, most of it is easier, but I'll get into this more in my review of the hack. The difficulty spike, the hardest part of the original redesign, I do not think equals to the hardest part of Axeil. And that in itself makes Axeil a harder hack. Because if you look at them on a chart, like difficulty spikes or whatever, they're sort of like mountains you have to climb in order to beat the hack. And this hack has a higher mountain to climb than the original redesign. And listing it as beginner, there is just, I don't even know what in the world he was smoking when he did that. It had to have been something good, though. So, anyway, that is basically the hack. There is still a long, extended escape sequence. Mother Brain still does the same things. I'm trying to think what else there is. There's still Suitless underwater in the escape because you never got enough of that in the first place. Especially not with redesigned physics. You still lose all your items and such. So, okay, yeah. You definitely saw the Shine Spark thing there happen. Again, there is good stuff in here. It's like, why did you decide to make the good stuff get thrown in with all the garbage? I don't get it. But yeah, that's terrain. And like I said, if this part, these last two videos, were terrain in its entirety pretty much, from the start, this would have been a fun terrain. And if you got rid of Drewseph, like, that would be a fun terrain. What's the time on this? Somewhere around 14 minutes in. So, what mode was I doing? I don't even know. I was doing something or other. I don't even know what I was doing. Anyway, yeah, that's all the death lasers. But, like, just to get through this part of terrain is an hour. And that was with making progress almost the whole time. Actual progress, not being lost and looking for things. I had a few circumstances of that, but not very much. And this segment lasted about an hour. That's a long time to be in terrain. You know, it's the end game. You know, this is it. There's really not going to be anything here. Let me destroy Metroids, unlock doors, get to Mother Brain, beat the game. This segment lasted an hour, which I think would have been still been a little long, but would have been so much better with that being the whole entirety of it than like the first segment, then the Metroid feeding pit segment, and another purple door, and then you have this segment. It's just way too much of an excess. And actually, I didn't try it there, but I'm kind of curious if you can still do the Zebetite skip. Kind of disappointed I didn't try it, actually. Oh! No, I don't remember if you can freeze Rinkas. It's kind of important. If you can't freeze the Rinkas, you can't really Zebetite skip unless you can Shine Spark. You also can't activate Mother Brain if you can't shoot her. You can break the glass real good, though. But yeah, I mean, the super firing rate is so terrible. Basically, from here on out, this is the regular redesign. I do have to say, I don't believe there are any Metroid rooms and terrain. Plus, you don't have to collect an item. There's not a missile tank to collect, which then lets you open up exactly 2 missile doors, so if you waste a missile, you're screwed. That no longer exists. So that's a bonus. Like I said, there are pluses compared to the original all over the place in Axeil. There's just a lot of other garbage thrown in as well. Speaking of some garbage, some people might consider a little thing during the escape to be complete garbage, sort of like a makeup for getting rid of the missile or whatever. I don't. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was silly. It's something I would do. It's not really silly, but it's definitely something I would do. Also, don't lose too much health through this. Also, charge your beam before firing. I think it takes 5 energy tanks away. So I've got the reserves, so I'm okay. Which stupid reserves should have been energy tanks. We'll see. Is it? Or is it 4? Oh, okay, so it's like 439 energy or something. But yeah, that gets rid of a lot of your items. Needlessly, I might add. It's just... You know, it really wouldn't be bad. Basically, everything's gone except wall jump and your morph. And your beams. For some reason, it doesn't affect beams at all. I mean, you get hyper, but still, it's kind of silly. But you lose everything else. It wouldn't actually be that terrible if you didn't have suitless underwater segments, rooms late during the escape where if you get caught by the lava or acid, you will die. Actually, I'm not even sure if there's acid rooms. I think there are, but in any case. There's still those rooms later on in Criteria with rising lava, where if you get caught, you know, you're dead and you have to do it again. And for a long escape, and at this point, this hack, it just beats on you. It's relentless in how it comes after you. You know, it's... At that point, a player probably is not going to be that invested in this hack. And a player that dies right there is just probably going to just shut it off. You know, this is good enough. I'm done. Or they'll be really upset and be mad at the hack at Drew and just beat the hack out of spite. Not because they enjoy it. It's... excuse me. It's just... something. Like, I know I've mentioned this in some other hacks, but longer escapes are... they're hard to do. Because, you know, you want, like, oh yeah, and you only have 12 minutes instead of 25. I mean, as somebody who makes hacks, I have thought of, oh yeah, and more needlessly place bomb blocks just to slow the player down for no reason. But as someone who makes hacks, I have considered, longer escapes and whatnot. Because when I was first started, that would be really cool, a long escape. This would be so amazing. It's really hard to do, and I don't think anybody's really done it well. In fact, Pantheon might have done it best. And Pantheon, the only reason it might have done it best is because it gives so much time for the player. They're not going to know exactly where to go and whatnot. They have plenty of time. They don't necessarily know that, but there's plenty of time. Also, coming up is the one part I talked about a little bit earlier that I actually liked that some people probably don't. Probably think is sort of a jerk move. This door. You just fall if you don't jump through the door. And some people probably really don't appreciate that. It's like, oh, this stupid thing, I really just want to finish it, whatever. I actually like that. See, it's not that punishing. You have to go back through 2 rooms, 3 really, because of transitions. And it's, yeah, I like that. I like it a lot more now that I wasn't just going through the rest of terrain, but still. So yeah, another thing with terrain being so big is you have to get through this big place before you can even get to the next segment, which is criteria. Actually, underwater criteria. And then you have criteria where the rising death lava comes up. You have to go through all of the terrain escape, all the Suitless underwater escape part, and then comes the death pits. It's like, what, really? So yeah, you don't need to worry about these doors. There is another challenge to this hack, which I do not see myself doing whatever. And in fact, it's going to... Part of that is going to be in my review coming up. Because it's just so... I don't even know. It's more of Drew's sort of control freak nature that really bothers me. But we'll get into that in the review. Those doors might come into play for that. It's basically an early powerbomb challenge thing. You can get early power bombs or something, and then you can, I believe, get into terrain. The Metroids have a different behavior if you come into terrain. You don't have Ice Beam. I don't think you have Ice Beam. So they react different to power bombs or whatnot. You don't have any suits or anything. So those doors through that room might come into play for that. I don't know. Like I said, I really don't feel like putting the effort into this hack. I don't feel it deserves that. Like, if somebody made that challenge up themselves, or whatever, say, oh, hey, this is possible, that would be interesting. It's kind of like speedrunning the original redesign. It's like, oh, you can do this. That's actually kind of interesting. I don't like the hack, but it's interesting enough. I'll speedrun it. I'll race it. Give it a try. That's more interesting. The early powerbomb challenge thing, or whatever, in Axeil feels a lot more like Zero Mission's quote-unquote sequence breaks. They're intentional paths put in there so players can take shortcuts or do whatever. It's not really sequence breaking. It's not the same thing. And yeah, now we're in the Suitless underwater section because again, this is... Why is this in any hack to this extent? And especially why is it in redesign with these physics? This hack is slow already. It doesn't need to be made even slower. This is frozen molasses slow. And it's completely unnecessary. I don't know. Maybe I just overly don't enjoy these segments, but it seems to go to a pretty far extreme. So once you get through this stuff, you can get out here. And now that you're through that, now comes the Rising Death Rooms. That one's not so bad. It's the vertical shafts that will kill you if the liquids catch up to you. Especially if it's acid. If it's acid, you don't have a chance. If you struggle a little bit in that room, you see I didn't. The lava still... I turned back from the door a little bit. The lava was right there. And you see at this point, you know, I am like halfway or a little bit beyond halfway through the escape. Maybe even a little more than that. And it's not a short escape. And now suddenly it's throwing things that might actually kill me. That's, you know, if you do get caught and die, you know, that's could very well be a game breaker. It's just like, I am done with this hack. I am over it. It's not worth my time to keep doing this. I could see that being something that would happen to people. Oh yeah, and make sure you go the right way on that, otherwise lava. So yeah, and another thing is, there's only 2 of these rooms in the original redesign. I believe this is the 3rd straight. And then suddenly liquid water again. Why? I think it's just so you can't wall jump up to where your ship was before. But there are other ways of doing that. You could just cave the ceiling in, which he has done in previous rooms here, so why would you... Also, yeah, I didn't open the door. But why would you not just do that? I don't even know. It's just... This room... Okay, so I don't believe there's acid anymore. But this room is the big culprit, I believe, for potential death. Especially because those air puffs. And there's one right in front of the door, which if you jump and you get caught by that, it will push you off the ledge. Most likely down into the lava, into your death. So yeah, I mean, he caved the ceiling in. There's no ship here. Why would you make the player... Why is there water down there? The thing's blocked off anyway. Why are you just making it slower for the player? I don't... There's just things in this hack. And honestly, I might be a little more critical of this hack than others. Because of the way it makes / has been making me feel. You know, hasn't been that enjoyable. It didn't really live up to it actually did sort of live up to my expectations. I was sort of expecting it to be something like this. I was actually expecting it to be worse, honestly. From the things Drew had said in IRC, I kind of figured this would be a total train wreck. There's actually a lot more really cool things in here than I thought there would be. But there's also still a lot of garbage that I figured would be in here. So yeah, that's it. That's the escape. This hack is done. Yeah. I find it a little hard to say good things about this hack. It does do good stuff. There are little things here and there, and even some big things that it does do. The map, for instance, that is easily the best part of the hack. The final segment of terrain, if that was all terrain was, terrain would have been pretty great. I do like that some of the statue positions were changed. Although, I believe in the newer versions the statues are actually marked on the map when you're looking for them. In this version they weren't. So that probably helps out players a lot. It probably would help me out a lot with the one above Various suit. There's just a lot of really annoying things in here. The hack, for the most part, is just tedious. Now, it's not that enjoyable. It's just a long time to get from point A to point B, and then you have to go from point B to point C, which is past back to point A and then beyond point A. You have to go to point D, which is beyond point A and B, to get to point D. It's just these longer paths which are already long, and they keep getting longer, of things you have to do to advance. And, you know, with how sort of control freaky Drew is, you know, you can't short charge anymore. You can't do anything he does not want you to do. And that's part of that early Power Bomb challenge. Which, again, I'll touch on that in the review. But there's just so much annoying stuff in here. You know, if Drew just let the players play the hack, even with the annoying physics and stuff like that, just letting the players play the hack, being able to do things, the short charge, arm pumping, it would have made this better. And then if you just left out Drewtroids, this would have actually been easier than the original redesign. And, you know, I think this might be the first hack that I'm going to say I would not recommend people play it. I would actually recommend people play the original redesign over this one. This one has a lot of new features, a lot of really interesting things and ideas in it. I can't bring myself to recommend people play it. You know, it's got interesting things. Normally, you could play a hack. I would say play a hack anyway. You know, there's good ideas or whatnot. Unless you're really interested in that, and making your own hack or whatever, and seeing, you know, what worked here, or what you liked in this hack, what you didn't like, how this worked with whatever. Unless you're really interested in that, and willing to put up with the tedium and frustration of this hack, I can't recommend this. It's not something I think people will enjoy. That's just my opinion. I don't know. It frustrated me that bad. That much, I should say. So yeah, you've got some more stuff on the end screen. It's some interesting things. It's a lot of door strippers. But other than that, that's it for this hack. The review will be coming up shortly again. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.